did it take you to do that? Like from start to finish, when did you come up with the idea, and then when did you start doing it?
Well, that's okay. So Nate, are you recording?
Yeah.
Okay, let me do a little intro.
Oh.
What's up, long players? Welcome back to the Long Play Listening Party. We're back from summer break. This is the show where we go deep on local music, writing, recording, inspiration, gear, and whatever else sounds good to us. We're getting warmed up for the summer and the fall with just the three of us hanging out. We don't know what we're gonna talk about necessarily. No
idea.
No idea. Really no idea. I mean, we can pick up. Royce was. Think of your question again. You're about to ask me something. What we're talking about is a project that I have coming out very soon called A Weirdest Beat Tape, which is material, some original stuff, and a bunch of remixes that I did on the SP404. And I forgot your question.
Well, since COVID, I just struggle with timelines, and I remember you talking about doing remixes, and then it was like all of a sudden, all these tracks were in the drive. So my question was, when did you originally come up with the idea to do it, and then when did you actually start executing on it, and how long did that take for you to get to the finished product?
It's a little more like chaotic and accidental than that. So I got the 404. It was like fall, kind of, I don't know, October, November of the first COVID year, so 2020, like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
I got the 404. Carrie Ann and I were just like, this was like pre-vaccine, right? So no one's going anywhere. Let's buy ourselves some toys with our stimulus money. She got a Nintendo Switch, and
nice.
has just a tremendous island, Animal Crossing island. I got a SP404 SX. This is before the Mark II existed, before we knew about it. And I just started making music. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know if I'd release anything. I bought it because I wanted to learn how to listen for samples and how to listen and chop up samples. So I just thought that'd be a fun kind of ear training. And but listeners know by now, when I get a piece of gear, I start making music with it like you do. I record what I do. I'm always recording. And so I just started piecing together tracks as I learned. That's how I learn, So the very first thing, and you will hear it on the beat tape, is Carrie Ann's little half cover of a Dessa song. Which was just, I was literally like, just here, sing me whatever's in your head right now, so I have some material to play with. No intention of releasing it. The second thing then was the instrumental beat, chopping up one of Drew's night mode songs called Mass One, put some drums, did a synth lead, did a Rhodes part. And actually, it ties back into the podcast, pardon me, as I played it for you guys. I don't think it's in a show, but I played that instrumental for you guys. And just in the course of like playing it for you, I was like, oh man, I kind of think like you could put some vocals on this, maybe. And I remember your reactions. You were both like, we don't quite see it that way. The tempo is real slow. Mix is strange. And so I went to my iTunes library looking for some vocals that I could edit in just to show you what I
You're like, hearing. Fuck you guys, I can do it myself.
And I found the Sounds Good acapella for Money, which was on a Sounds Good EP. I started editing it in, and I thought I'd just do a little bit, but it sounded kind of cool, and so I kept going and ended up, using all the vocals. And you'll hear that on the E-Tape 2. I hope. I gotta cross my fingers now. We haven't officially gotten the final, official, definitely go for it So you'll at least hear the instrumental. I hope you'll hear the vocal, and then just started going from there. I did a remix for Corey, and I did some.
Which one? Which song?
Extroversion. So the original version of Extroversion is on Spotify right now. The artist name with his beat maker Mike is Van Ripper and Galactifator. I'll link to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I thought you were talking Corey Phillips.
Oh no, Corey Kibler.
I could tell that's what you were thinking.
Corey Kibler, my Corey.
I would be interested in that.
Yeah. So there's a full remix that will be coming out later on a different project. What will be on the beat tape is a half remix, which is it's the original beat chopped up into my arrangements and then processed with all the 404 effects, but it's still the original instrumental, just reorganized.
Oh, I got you.
And
so you did both of those at the same time? The one that's coming out on this other project and this one
yeah,
at the same time?
Kind of. It's all mixed. The history's all mixed together at this point, and I did some tracks on my own. And then I did the Stick remix, and we did, or even earlier, Royce, you and I, we did the Christina Graves thing, which also ties back to the podcast because that whole idea came from I was editing Christina Graves' podcast show at 1.3 speed. I'm just bopping along with the edit, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle of the song today, and my ears go, wait, like, this sounds really cool at 1.3 speed. So that became a song, and I chopped it up and re-edited it, and you did a verse on it, and so it just started. It's just all the tracks I made with the 404. That's the theme.
Okay. I can't wait to hear that. I think I heard it early on in the process. To be honest with you, I haven't heard it in so long. I vaguely remember. I don't remember the verse or anything like that. So.
Oh, so you approved it without even making it to the.
Yeah, I'm just taking my time through the project, so it'll be a nice jewel for me. Plus, just to see how it fits and flows with everything within the record. So. Yeah. I'm very excited. Thank you for that too. And man, when she told you yes, I was like, wow. That was like a weight off. That was something I was like in the back of my head. I was like, well, maybe she heard it and didn't like it. And it's just never gonna happen. You know what I mean? So.
Right. No, I felt that way about almost every track. I mean, with Approach, I felt a different kind of nervousness because that was the only one where I asked for the acapella. So he knew I was going to be doing something with it. But
you slayed that. You slayed that.
Thank you.
You did, man. I heard that and I was like, oh my God. It was just like a whole different vibe of that track that I've heard 1,000 times. You know what I mean? And I really, really like it a lot. You know what I mean? Like a lot. So congratulations, man. You did your thing on that.
Thank you. That means a lot. But I have so much respect for him and I've listened to so much of his music. I put a lot of pressure on myself to do something that I wanted to do. I mean, I wanted to do something good, obviously, but I wanted to do something I didn't think he had heard before.
And your drumming skills came through on that track because you put him in a pocket that I really enjoyed. Like I really enjoyed, and it was a different way to approach him. You know what I mean?
Right. I went into really that. That was the thing that's why I picked To Come at Night. Like I was going around, like after I would listen to Merely Minutes in a Day too, I would be like replaying They Come at Night in my head, but tapping out. I mean, as a drummer, I'm always like tapping on whatever, and I'd be tapping out that beat on my chest or on the table or whatever. So that's the thing. I had that going in. I had no idea what was going to happen with anything else. But I did
Gotcha.
have. I knew like this is how I hear. This is the kick snare kind of pattern I hear to this vocal.
It was dope. Or it is dope.
Well, I didn't mean I didn't mean to spend 10 whole minutes talking about that, but yeah. So it's a big thing I've been up to. I don't know. What have you guys been up to during the break? Nate, you've had lots of gigs, right?
Yeah, tons.
Yeah, I've been playing quite a bit. Yeah.
You sound tired.
Interesting.
What's that?
You sound tired.
Yeah, no, I mean it's good. I mean, it's weird. It's like last year they had all these. You were wearing masks and showing your vaccine cards and stuff, and there, case counts were lower, and it was cool. And then this year it's like they dropped all that stuff, and like I've never more people that I know that never had COVID before have had it in the past like month or 2 months than than the whole time this has been going on. It's just crazy.
Wild West out there.
But I say, yeah, but I mean, I think part of that is just getting out and the open with, lots of people, and you just gotta, one of those things where you manage your own risk. I'm going back to get another booster shot, and as soon as I can, probably this month sometime. But yeah, I've got more gigs coming up too. Taking piano lessons from Eddie Moore.
Right, that's super exciting.
That's been fantastic. Just gives you a renewed focus and kind of enthusiasm to practicing, and you don't feel like you're like, oh, I gotta go do this thing. Like you're excited to go kind of explore what he's kind of laid out. Like, okay, this week you want to focus on these extensions, hand in this position here, hand in this position here. These extensions go up and down, and it's more of an exploration than it is, just strict. And there's scale exercises with metronomes, but it's like, hey, what scales do you think you need the most work with? And you make he makes he's like, have fun with it. Don't just robotically move up and down. Like do weird rhythms, that kind of stuff. So it's and all that stuff is not. Those aren't secrets, but it's good to have a mentor type of relationship.
It sounds kind of. Go ahead, Royce.
I was just going to say, and probably having a level of accountability,
Yep.
Adds to it. Because like you said, it's not a secret. You could do it on your own, but
yep.
You know what I mean? So that's cool.
Well, no, it's just, I think it's a good way. I just have, everybody, I think, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have issues with giving themselves guardrails. And in this case, I think he's helping set those up for me. And so, I sit down and practice. I don't practice too long. I don't feel like I'm burning myself out. I'm pretty steadily every day, like sitting down and doing it. It doesn't feel like I've got to do it. It's just like, oh, let me go do this now. And I get it over with and then move on. So
it sounds like the content or the agenda is, he has kind of a framework, but then within that, you have a lot of freedom to kind of say what you want to work on.
Yep, exactly, man. Yeah, I brought the real book last week and told him there's a tune in there that I wanted to kind of do a like a kind of chart study on, which is like Someone in Love. I can't remember the original composer, but the version I'm always thinking of is the Bjork version. And I think, was that on Debut? I think that was on Debut.
Sounds right. I couldn't say off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, anyway, yeah. And so, his advice was like, do the root and learn the melody. So that's what I'm gonna do. Is play the root, learn the melody. He's like, once you learn the melody, like you can substitute, whatever your root chord. You can substitute what you're doing down there and know where you are when you're playing the melody, and you know the melody in your head inside and out. So, and that, I think that was a step I've been wanting to take for a while, is getting into formal instruction again. So that's been a big thing.
That's cool.
Nice.
And even with just that melody kind of approach, you can use that in everything else that you do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like some of the improvisation tips were, play what the bass is playing, the root, and just improvise over, kind of hear the chord changes in your head if you need to play through them, so that you are, can familiarize yourself with them more, than do that. But once you have the chord changes in the root, just, play in your right hand over. I mean, it seems like it's obvious advice, but it's very basic, fundamental things that will incrementally make you better and more, I think, in tune with your instrument, and then what's going around you. What other instruments are doing. So
Absolutely. Oh,
and then I've just been busy with I'm doing a summer song challenge. Katarina J, who we should have as not only a guest host, but a guest herself. She's in a band called Interstate Drive, I believe they're called, but she does a whole lot of other stuff. She's very involved in the music community, but she has a summer song challenge the last 2 years on Facebook, and it's May, June, July. So I got my song done for May. I didn't think I joined it just to join it. I didn't think I'd get anything done, but I got May's song done. I started June. I started like pretty much right away. I'm gonna have Murtha, the pedal steel guitar player with Maria.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have him play acoustic, pedal steel, regular guitar, and baritone. Just kind of, it's kind of a trip hop, Portishead type of song, beat and vibe. So I'm just gonna kind of have him take a pass with each instrument, and then I'm collaborating with Kirsten and Mara on vocals. So he should have his stuff to me in the next few days, and then they're working on their vocals. Kirsten, I think she said she's working on hers tonight. So hopefully, sometime next week, I'll be putting that together. That'll come out on the 30th of June.
Right.
And then July's track will come out on the 31st of July.
We didn't say your May track is actually out on your Bandcamp, and it's great.
It is, yes. I plan on kind of cleaning that up a little bit, and then that is also going to be track that I am doing with Kirsten in a project that is, we have not really formally announced it. We will formally announce it probably in a couple months, but got a lot of things going on under the belt, in the back pocket. Got something with Royce going on.
Torso area happenings.
Yeah.
That track
Yeah.
lives exclusively. So I have two questions for you. That track lives exclusively on Bandcamp, and that's one question. But the other one is, like, you've released tracks in the past, and then you've gone back and like cleaned them up and redid them. How do you re-release that?
I get specifically Futurespective. I think that made it a little that created the bumps in the road that we had when we released Futurespective. But essentially, you can go back, and as long as all the metadata in the track is the same, you can release a remastered version of the same track. Like you can take it. CD Baby. I mean, I'm sure that DistroKid has the same type of functionality, but CD Baby itself, you can go in and say, I want to remove my track from, this service and this service and this service, or you can remove your track from all the services. So remove your track from all your services, all the services, not on there anymore. Use the same metadata with the updated audio file, and then I did it on at least one track, and it took like 2 or 3 days before it was re-released, and so it keeps the play counts and everything, because all that
Because it's all the same ISO and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wondered how that worked. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So when you say you remove it, you mean you completely remove it, wait till it's removed, and then redistribute it?
I don't think I waited till I confirmed that it was removed. I just
removed it and then uploaded the new audio.
And then, yeah.
Okay. That's pretty slick. That's cool. All right. Well, what I've been up to is just a lot of really kind of getting into some more post-production work. I think I had mentioned that I did the MCI or KCI simulation room that they were doing down there for children on the and I'm still working on it. It's not quite done, but it's for children on the spectrum. Just being able to, that's how it initially started. It's really for anybody who's never flown, but just seeing, what it feels like, what it sounds like to be on a plane, and can somebody be on a plane for a couple of hours. So I did all the sound design for that. And then did another simulation room for the Amelia Earhart Museum. So they got like a deep fake going on with that. They brought in an actress that did all the VO work for that. And it's going to have like multiple kiosks and that kind of thing in Atchison, Kansas, which is my girl's hometown. So it had a little special meaning to do that. And and then the other thing that I did was Vice Media does like these kind of, I think they call them the informer. They bring people in, they put a mask on them, and they tell their stories depending on what industry they're a part of. This particular young lady was part of what they call Pagwan. I think it's Padwan or something like that. But it basically means money school in Korea. So she went to South Korea to teach children English, and it was like a huge sham. And anyway, we did the whole project for them, sent it to them, and they did all the editing and everything, and it's up, and it's got like 400,000 views. So that was a pretty cool project that we did. As far as like creative studies and stuff, I'm redoing my Pro Tools certification. Started that this week, so getting through that. They have an Atmos certification coming down the pipeline later this year, so That'll be real fun to get into. Really do just learn how to do all that in Pro Tools and start building out some of these records that we're doing just to see what it would sound like. You know what I mean?
Did you check out that mastering for immersive stuff?
I haven't.
Oh, man,
I've saved it in like 3 or 4 different places so that I didn't lose it. But I haven't had the opportunity to. There's quite a bit of like pre-study that they wanted us to do for this, so that's kind of what my. But yeah,
It'll be
I'm definitely. Yeah. Thanks for that, man. Thanks for that.
Well, I'm so impressed. This is I'll find the thing and put a link in the show notes. This is I think it was a YouTube video or a podcast with a mastering house, I think it's in California, who have come up with this method for mastering for immersive audio, which is, of course, if you think about it, it's really difficult because, I mean, you've got up to, like 200 objects, what would be tracks in an audio mix. They're objects, they can be panned, I'm using finger quotes, anywhere in 3D space.
And beds, objects and beds.
Right. So, like, how do you master that when? And this house not only figured out a simple method for doing it. It will work on multiple. I mean, I know it'll work in Reaper. I'm sure it'll work in other DAWs too. I don't remember what they use. But any DAW that can link parameters across multiple instances of a plugin will be able to use this method. You can apply this to any DAW that can do that. Not only did they develop this, they just threw it out there on the internet for free for anyone else to learn how to do. You can roll your own template based on their process, and if you understand their process, which is it's a little tricky at first, but like once you understand what they're doing, it makes complete sense. And once you have your template set up, and make mastering for immersive essentially a snap. I mean, there's still I'm not saying artistically easy, but like the technical piece, you've got it wired. So smart, and I can't believe they just put the knowledge out there for free. Very impressive.
I've seen some of the Avid guys have talked about the immersive audio mastering process, and they feel like you said, once you've got it figured out, they actually think it's easier than mastering a 2-track record. You know what I mean? So, but that's because, at that point they're dealing with stems, they're dealing with a pretty solid piece of audio. You're right. Like they're not. I don't want it to sound like everyone else's mixes aren't like polished, but they're dealing with, they're mastering for Justin Timberlake or somebody like that. So those mixes are coming through pretty tight, but they're saying like they're getting through those immersive audio masters in like a half hour. You know what I mean? Well, which is crazy to me.
It is crazy. And another thing that helps with that is that the loudness target is lower, so you're not limiting so much. You're not trying to squeeze every bit of loudness.
Yeah, I think you gotta go to -18. I think that's the recommended bus for the recommended level to.
It would be nice to get a standard out there. You know what I mean?
Well, I think in some places, like you say, the -18 is kind of standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. I feel like that's been the issue with audio over the last 10 years. It's just like we just didn't have any kind of like set conform standards. You know what I mean? Is that -18? That's going to be the same way over, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. That's great.
Well, the -18 is for immersive specifically. The streaming platforms are kind of converging on -14. And I think that's Spotify's default. If you want to geek out on this stuff, there's a wonderful podcast called The Mastering Show that I will link to, and they've been talking about this for years. Will continue to, I'm sure, have done a very thorough job of covering it. But long story short, -14 LUFS is about about as close as you can come, I think, to a standard for audio. Apple is switching to LUFS. Their target is still a little lower, like -16 maybe.
And you're talking about an immersive?
No, so -18, I think, for immersive, like Nate was saying, and it's covered in the both on the Mastering Show podcast and on the immersive mastering thing I'm gonna link to. There's no across the board standard for music, but
right.
I think -14 is the most common standard.
Yeah, -14.
I think it's one of those things that, like, you with -14, you can get away with it everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, your music's not going to sound drastic. And the beauty in it is, at some point, is that you're, like, I'm not listening to Apple Music and Spotify side by side. Right? Like, once I'm on Apple Music, I'm on Apple Music, and everything's kind of the same. And it's going to make the adjustments and the difference for me no matter what I do. But anyway. Cool.
I did, so to bring it back to the beat tape just for a second, I did have a weird one. So the second to last track is very abstract. There's no drums. It's noisy. It's mostly a sample of my ceiling fan with 404 effects and things. The algorithm, so I've got it set where I like it in line with the record. The algorithm thinks that it's 9 dB too quiet. So if you listen to the beat tape on Spotify, you might get slammed by this track that's like kind of white noise. And I don't know what about it wasn't working for the algorithm, but it was a massive difference. And
that's hilarious.
I mean, that's how I'm gonna post it, because I listen to the files or on Bandcamp or something, so I want it to sound right there.
Right.
I don't want to tailor it overly too much for the algorithm, so listen on Bandcamp.
No.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it too.
Well, we know how I feel about Spotify, right? Like.
Oh yeah.
That was a good update. Is there anything else we want to talk about, or?
I know there's a lot of stuff coming out from just the three of us, and tangential projects. So, if you're listening, stay tuned.
For sure. And a lot of good guests coming up too. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
We're in the process of booking shows. We have definitely booked Joel from Serene Fiend. So you'll hear, he has a new record that he's been working on for quite a while, coming out in August, and so the podcast will come out in August for that. Cat King will be appearing in September. Excited about that, and much more to come. If you have recommendations, you can get at us on email, thelongplaylp@gmail.com, or on Instagram or Twitter or any of our social accounts, or
Slide into those DMs.
definitely slide into the DMs with your recommendations and your wish lists, and we'll be back at you soon. Hopefully, we think we know who the guest will be when we talk to you next, but not quite confirmed yet, so I won't say it. But we should be back at you next week with a guest. It's been the Long Play Listening Party. Later, everybody. And one down.
Nice. So you're gonna put, you said music underneath that?
Oh yeah, I forgot to say. Hey, it's Howie from the future. I forgot to say. I'm gonna put some music underneath this episode. The music is going to be a Night Mode album that I released just a few weeks ago. It's called I Could Not Bring Myself to Sing. And it has all three members of Night Mode. Well, it doesn't have the fourth member, my dad. But Damon Marr and Drew Rudbush are both on it. It's centered around It's 5 tracks, but 2 of the tracks are very long, and they're tracks that Damon and I made together. So those are the centerpieces, and then there are a couple kind of other tracks. Pardon me, to glue it all together. So that will be just bubbling away in the background.